My name is Patrick Murphy, and my mother was right from Ireland, my dad also, and I had fallen, and I was about 3 or 4 years old then, and my dad had been drinking heavily and my mother decided to take me to the monastery to see Father Solanus. So, and she had great faith in Father Solanus. And so we left for the monastery, and her excuse was me having the twisted arm. I had a twisted arm. I had fallen and twisted my arm. And that was her excuse to get my dad there and get to talk to Father Solanus. So when we got to the monastery, Father Solanus came out on the front porch, and Ma greeted him, and he greeted Ma, and Ma knew him from other times. And he said, "Oh, Mrs. Murphy, how are you?" And then I remember my mother saying, "Father, I brought my son who had twisted his arm. He fell and twisted his arm. Now, I just wonder if you could say something for him, or say a prayer for him." And he says, "Don't worry about the arm. That's going to be all right." And he touched me. And I never thought anything about it. And so the next thing I know, they were going into the monastery, my dad, Father Solanus, and my mother, and me. And so I guess Father Solanus took my dad aside and started talking to him because my mother had let him know what was happening. But as time went on through that whole thing, we were leaving, and when we were leaving, there was nothing wrong with my arm at all. There was it was back to normal. There was no twist in it at all. And that's as far as I can remember. And when he said, "Don't worry about it," you know how Father was. He was just, when he said something, "Don't worry," very gentle. And so that was it. Now, what happened to my dad, I'm not sure. Whether he had quit, given up. I think he had for a while. He had quit drinking. But as I say, it was Father Solanus who had touched my arm. And the arm was perfectly all right. By the time we left, it was fine and dandy.